Welcome to Fitzdog Radio. Greg Fitzsimmons, Lexington, Kentucky, doing some shows at Comedy Off Broadway and having some fun. Stay off the internet. Here I am. This guy, I posted that I'm doing these shows in Lexington. You know, little banner ad, little hey, here tonight, come on, check out the show. And then this fucking douchebag lays into me for being a self-promoter while there's a crisis going on in the world. And I was like, and I usually don't engage, but sometimes it's such a slam dunk. You just go like, all right, dude, maybe I can open your eyes to my reality. And I just write, okay, so you want me to take the week off from my job? Because my job is to promote shows and then perform at them. That's it. The clubs don't promote. Those days are over. The days of, posters being, flyers being handed out. And even radio interviews, like with COVID, there's not the kind of radio interviews that you used to get on local stations. So my job, as much to make you laugh, is to get you to come out to the show through social media almost exclusively. So I put a banner up saying, come to the show. And this guy, you fucking self-promote. I go, well, what did you take the week off from work to honor this incursion into Ukraine? Did you also sacrifice your wages for the week? Because that's what you're asking me to do. And then he comes back and just calls me a hack and I'm not funny. It's like, okay, well then there's something else going on here. And then he sends me, he goes, here's what I did this week. And there was a picture of him holding a sign that said, fuck war. Well, good for you, Jimmy. Way to go. I'm sure Putin's going to see that and go, maybe I am wrong here. Maybe we should fuck war. Maybe I'm out of bounds. Literally out of bounds. And thank God for this guy in Lexington. I don't know where the fucking guy lives. Actually, he's not in Lexington. He could be anywhere in the country. But that's what you're up against. People suddenly have been told, the news cycle is telling you this is what you should only be thinking about. This is it. I'm not minimizing it. My wife's Ukrainian. She's half Ukrainian. That's where both her grandparents are from. And I haven't really talked to her about it. I should ask her how she's feeling. She seems pretty upset by the war. I don't know. I mean, I think I have a pretty big Ukrainian fan base, so I think turnout's going to be a little light. My Ukrainian fans are going to be at home fretting. Fuck war. And then you think about what can we really do? Like the U.S., before this thing started, because there was such a build-up to this war. It was almost like it was like a bar fight where one guy was talking shit for a long time, and that's Russia, and the Ukraine was the country that was the other guy who was just kind of eyeballing him and holding his ground, and America was the girlfriend, was like, Ukraine's girlfriend who was also drunk and going, hey, stop, you guys, cut it out, stop. We didn't step in front of Russia. We just kind of fucking chirped from the side. Hey, stop, can we talk? And then Russia came in, and you know what? Ukraine, I'm taping, full disclosure, I'm taping this podcast a couple days before it airs, so there will definitely be developments in this situation between now and when you guys are hearing this. But so far, Ukraine is doing pretty good. I mean, I don't know who Vegas likes in this one. I got to think it's Russia plus a lot of points, but Ukraine there's some fighting motherfuckers. They've been drinking some vodka. So I don't know who their allies are. I don't know who Ukraine's allies or Russia's allies are. I guess there's talk that India and China, they call it something, that alliance, but we'll see. Meanwhile, in China, the Olympics are going on. Apparently, the Olympics are going on. For years, Americans have been saying, that kind of fading on the Olympics. And then this year we just went, we don't care. We're done with the Olympics. We're done. There are no water cooler conversations about the Olympics. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody cares. Like, name one Olympic athlete. The snowboarder, whatever his name is. And I guess there was a Russian woman who was, of course, taking drugs. Nothing new there. Who cares about the Olympics? I can't watch them. I can't watch these young people that have spent 4 years of their lives training, not going out with their friends at night. Studies are lacking, you know, and then you get into your 20s and you're like starving because the Olympics doesn't pay any money. And then all it takes, you're your figure skater and you catch a blade and you fall down in the middle of your little routine and it's over. 4 years of sacrifice, over. I can't handle that. I get very uptight. It's like when I'm watching Eddie Pepitone do stand-up comedy. At any given moment, he can fall down. It can all fall apart. Eddie's my guest today. He'll be on in a little bit. I talked to him this past week. We'll give him a proper intro in a moment. So I'm in Lexington, and last night I was doing this bit about how guys ask women's fathers for permission to marry them, which is so 11th century of them, you know, because if the father says no, does that mean the guy is literally going to say to the girl, hey, sorry, I checked with your dad, but he's not cool with it, so take it easy. Have a sad, sad life now that your soulmate is leaving because your father has weird feelings for you. And first of all, I think if you want to ask the father for permission for something, why don't you ask him before you start banging his daughter, can I have sex with your daughter? I'm sure that's when he would like to be consulted about it. So I do that bit, and then somebody goes, well, why buy the cow? I forget how it came up, but a woman said, she was engaged. And I said, are you living with him? And she said, yeah. And I said, you know what they say, why buy the cow when you're getting the milk for free? And then this other woman, and keep in mind, we're in Kentucky. And a woman yells out, yeah, but he still keeps coming back and fucking the cow. And I was like, I think you might have mixed the metaphor a little bit there because we were milking it a second ago. I don't know when we started fucking the cow in this little allegory. And she said that, and this same woman, I was talking to her for age, she fascinated me. She was a true Kentuckian. Good people. They're good people, but they like bourbon. And she was explaining to me that everything can be brought back to Forrest Gump, that all the experiences in her life can be related somehow to quotes and scenes from the movie Forrest Gump. And so then later I was talking about how she left him because he was special needs. And then she went, yeah, but she came back to him at the end. And then this guy with a giant beard who looked like a rapist goes, 'cause she had AIDS. And I just said, good night, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming out. Because I couldn't follow that. That's funnier than anything I could come up with. Crazy week, very busy. Last weekend, I was in upstate California seeing my daughter. She's off at school now, and we visited. Me and the wife drove up and visited, and it was absolutely lovely. She's just such a great kid. She's turning out so beautiful and wonderful and so adult. It's so hard for me to let go and say and not really hold my tongue to not correct her or give her advice. Because first of all, she doesn't want to fucking hear it. Kids don't want to hear it. And so all of a sudden you're redefining your relationship to them and watching Jackass together. We were just watching Jackass, going out to dinner, and laughing, and it was just really nice. Went to the Charles Schulz Museum, and it was you have to understand my connection to Peanuts. When people talk about like who were your early comedy influences, like Charles Schulz, I put up there with fucking George Carlin or anybody else. Like the guy was brilliant. His Peanuts was sublime. It was so funny and subtle and deep and emotional and laugh out loud funny and great characters. So this museum that they did an amazing job, Bill. It's a 2-story museum. And it's got all these exhibits, and at one point there's the video showing Charles Schulz actually drawing the characters and making it. And it was one of the greatest experiences I've had at a museum in my life. If you ever get up there, what else? And what else did we do? And then I came to Chicago on Sunday. I got asked to do a movie with Doug Stanhope. And it's the guy who wrote and directed Meet the Parents, the original one. I guess there was an original one, and he wrote this movie, and Stanhope was cast in it, and he's perfect for it, and he's a good fucking actor. I don't know if you saw him in Louis C.K.'s show. He played himself. Basically, he's kind of playing himself again. And I'm playing his old friend, who's a hack, who's on stage doing hacky bits. And then we're hanging out in the comedy condo. We had a lot of laughs. Love Doug Stanhope. We spent a lot of time together over the years. And he's just he's a fucking character. He's a larger than life character. Like we needed extras for the scene where we were shooting in a comedy club. So literally at like 11 o'clock the night before, he just tweets out, anybody want to be an extra? And it was like 40 minutes south of Chicago in this little club. And the place was fucking packed with his fans. They all showed up the next morning to be extras. And he got them all up on stage one at a time. We did selfies with every single person. And then we would go at night after shooting, we would go to the Outback Steakhouse. That was his hangout. And he walked in and it was like Cheers. He sits at the bar and eats. And there's a waitress there that he had hung out with the night before, that he knew her life story. And the bartender says literally the usual, Doug, and puts a fucking margarita in front of him, which he slammed about 4 of. And just his whole pack of friends that are hanging around that are all really cool people. Really fun time. Fun as shit. And then saw my son, because my son goes to college in Chicago. So I met up with him and I took all of his room. I got to see his apartment. I hadn't seen it yet this year. And nice apartment, clean, organized. His roommates are super artsy, they're all like film majors and artists and interesting people. And we went out to a big sushi dinner. It was nice to take out his roommates and get to know them a little bit. And, because of quarantine, he hasn't been at school much, so I haven't gotten to know his friends that well. And I can just remember being in college myself and my parents coming up, and what a big deal that was. So yeah, that was awesome. And what else? But the movie. Here's the thing about being on a movie set. When you're talent on a movie set, it is very easy to be happy. People are, if you don't drive yourself fucking crazy with trying to be a method actor. Which, believe me, I don't. I just learn my lines, and they do what they tell me. But they, they got somebody that picks you up at your hotel. They put you in a nice room, and they pick you up exactly when you want. And then the makeup person is kind to you, and somebody gets you coffee whenever you want it, and they get you whatever meals you want. And everybody's there's a lot of compliments. I like lots of compliments. Who doesn't? And I feel like I'm never funnier than on a movie set. I just am in a good mood, and I love just fucking cracking people up on set. And you just understand why actors never stop acting until they're no longer given roles. And you see people in their 80s still acting because it's a nice way to live. It's other than being on the road, it's a really nice life. So that was good. And now I'm in Lexington, Kentucky. I go to Omaha, on Sunday. And sorry if there's noise in the background. There's some kids outside my hotel room door. I should go fucking yell at them. Reading a great book called Ant Kind by Charlie Kaufman. If you're up for a big read, it's 700 pages, but it's his first novel. And this is the guy that wrote and directed Being John Malkovich. I don't know if he directed Being John Malkovich. He wrote the screenplays for that adaptation, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, a lot of mind movies. But I mean, considered of our generation, one of the greatest screenwriters in history. He's incredible. So fucking ingenious and original and daring and brave. I hate when people say those kinds of words. But he really is. And he started out writing in TV, and he wrote on that Dana Carvey show, which had Louis C.K. on it, Steve Carell, Stephen Colbert, Greg Daniels, Robert Smigel. There's a documentary about that show. It got canceled pretty fast because it was super edgy. Dino Stamatopoulos. But just a brilliant writer who had so much success, was nominated for 4 Oscars. I think he won at least one of them. And then like directed a movie that didn't do well. And then fucking you look at like his work just fell off. He had like 5 years where he put out 4 movies that were like the Writers Guild, the Directors Guild called his movies like 3 of them were the top 3 scripts in the top 100 greatest scripts of all time, and then couldn't get work all these years. That's how this fucking business works. Because he had like 1 or 2 failures and it was just over. Not over, because I think Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, I think, came later. But George Clooney directed that, and they did not get along. Clooney made changes to the scripts without consulting with fucking Charlie Kaufman. So, I mean, I like George Clooney, but that's a kind of a douchey move. So Kaufman has spoken pretty openly about not being happy with that experience. But cool book. I'll keep you posted. I'm only about 100 pages in of the 700, but it's funny as shit and super creative. If you guys want to start reading it, then we can do like a book club thing where you could write in to the website, fitzdog@gmail.com, and maybe we'll do like 100 pages a week, and then we can talk about it on the show. Maybe? I don't know. Just an idea. Here's another idea. Get some good meat in your life. Good Chop is America's online butcher. They have delivered meat to my house that I'm telling you right now, this meat is as good as... we go to Bob's in Santa Monica, which is like the best meat on the west side of L.A. This is better, and it is delivered to my house. I don't have to drive 20 minutes to get it. They've got a flexible monthly subscription plan. You can get a medium or a large plan. It's everything: beef, chicken, pork, seafood, flash frozen for freshness, sealed with dry ice in an insulated box, and it shows up at your house. No contact. You have to worry about getting into touch with anybody. You get customizable boxes, so you can choose what you want in it, and then you can order. I mean, like the Angus choice and prime cuts, well marbled, delicious, 100% grass-fed steaks. The seafood is sustainable and wild caught. Salmon, Pacific cod, a bunch of. They got everything. So, and I get confused about what kind of steak I like. Like, I know I love ribeye. I know I like T-bones. And so they send you different kinds of steaks because they do all have different flavors, and you can grill them in different ways. I look online for the best way to do it. wild caught salmon. It's unbelievable, and it comes with no antibiotics, no added hormones. You don't want that shit in your system. This is healthy, sustainable food. No artificial ingredients. You feel great after you eat it, and look. If you don't believe me, it's a 100% money back guarantee. So don't take my word for it. Try it out. Have it shipped to your house, and I guarantee you, they guarantee you that you're gonna love it. So, when the last time I got an order, I had a barbecue and people raved. I got a bunch of ribeye and I put it back on the grill. And people, I didn't mention that I had gotten it from a sponsor, and people were pointing out how great this piece of meat was. So here we are. Go to goodchop.com/Fitzdog100 and use code Fitzdog100 to get $100 off your first 3 boxes. Go to goodchop.com/Fitzdog100 and use Fitzdog100 to get $100 off your first 3 boxes. It's Good Chop, America's online butcher. What else can I say? Do it. Okay, couple quick overheards and then we'll get to it. I got this one from Daniela, who is our friend over in the Netherlands. And she said, on my breaks, I think she works on the train, I'll sometimes hang out near the waters behind Amsterdam Central Station, sip on my coffee while staring out at the ferries. It's a mixed crowd of people on their cigarette break, commuters, homeless, and tourists. While standing there, this Asian kid with the weirdest bowl cut stopped by to take a picture. The homeless guy in the corner points at him and yells out, "Ha ha! Space Invaders!" And I'm thinking, and everyone cracked up, she said, which I'm thinking, do Space Invaders have bowl cuts? They look like they have little bowl cuts? I guess they do, right? But it used to be out of the words of babes, out of the mouths of babes. Now it's out of the mouths of homeless people. They say the funny shit because they don't care. They got nothing to lose. Clint wrote in Indianapolis, outside of a restaurant at breakfast, a man aggressively into his cell phone. I'm going to the DMV and then I'm getting fucked. I don't know if that means he's going to get fucked at the DMV by the DMV employees, which, by the way, have gotten way better. I can speak to the Los Angeles DMV and say they are fucking great now. I got in and out of there in an hour last time with a new license. So maybe he thinks he's going to get, or he's saying, I'm going to DMV, take care of my business, and then my girlfriend's waiting at home, and when I show her my new license, I'm getting laid. I don't know. We don't really know, Clint. All right, dates coming up. We got Magoobies just announced. This is a new date, so tell your friends, spread the word. Baltimore, Maryland, March 3rd through the 5th at Magoobies. Tickets at Fitzdog.com. St. Patrick's Day show, Hollywood Improv, always sells out. Get your tickets early. That's March 17th. You always get some big names coming in, plus the usuals. Spokane, Washington, April 14th through 16 at the Spokane Comedy Club. New Orleans, April 21st, Lafayette, Louisiana, April 22nd, Tacoma, Washington in May. Fitzdog.com, get tickets. So here we go. All right, my guest today is a dear friend who I think is hysterical and I think is ingenious and I think he's a good man. He's a New Yorker that's been in Hollywood for a lot of years and he fucking hates it. And that's what drives him. That's kind of... It's like, why don't you move back to New York? He's relishing being in a place he fucking hates because I think it starts up his comedy engine. But he was great. We had a really nice talk, and we hung out for a long time after the podcast. But here he is, Eddie Pepitone. Welcome to Fitzdog Radio, Eddie Pepitone. Before we started, Eddie said something very sublime. He said, I want to be you. And then there was a beat, and he goes, with a few caveats. I want to know what the caveats are.
All right, I'll tell you. One is I would like to retain my eyes and my face. Like, I have fallen in love with my face.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have a great body.
No.
Ouch. And
you know what? I just saw Attell and Jeff Ross on stage, and Attell goes to Jeff Ross, "You have the body of an Olympic coach."
You know what?
No, I'm sorry, an Olympic doctor.
You know, an Olympic doctor is better.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Because the coaches usually, I look at the NFL coaches and it's so funny. I don't know if you're a football fan, but coaches fit into two distinct categories in the NFL particularly. They're as slim and as in shape
like
as
a McVay.
The players, like a McVay, or they are just like Jabba screaming at people like they are the embodiment of rage and overeating and impulsive eating.
Yeah.
Like you could tell everything's impulsive. Like, and particularly the guy who fits that perfectly is the Ryan brothers, Rex and his brother.
Yeah.
I forget who.
Was he the foot worshiper on the Jets?
Oh, I didn't hear about the foot worship.
He was the Jets coach, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he was a
Was he a foot fetishist?
Well, yeah, there was a video came out on one of these foot fetish websites of him worshiping his wife's feet. She was in a parked car, and she had her naked feet, bare feet, hanging out the window. And he walked up and he goes, "Hi, do you mind if I sniff those?" And he starts sniffing and licking her feet. And it's all in a video, and it came out.
Oh, my
You never heard about that?
God, how did I miss that?
Yeah.
Wow, that is why. I know Parcells loves thighs.
Really?
That's why he drafted some really...
All right, so what are the other caveats? You want your face. You want your eyes.
You have raised children.
Yeah.
I don't think I could do that, handle that.
Yeah.
You know, that's... I remember Bill Burr. I don't know if you know Bill, but Bill at one point said, "You have dogs because you don't want to challenge yourself." And I got to say, I think you know when someone says something that you don't like, but it rings true?
Yeah.
It's sort of like taking a punch. You have to take it.
Yeah.
And you go, okay, that's
Right.
one for you.
Right.
Let me put that in the bank and hopefully pick apart your life at some point. What would be the other caveats? I think that's mainly it.
Okay.
You know?
Your face, not my kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So you've come to self-acceptance, it sounds like.
Somewhat,
How
man.
long did it take you to get self-acceptance?
I'm 63, and that's not to brag.
No, that's not.
Matter of fact, I said my age on stage years ago, and Billy Merritt, I don't know if you know Billy from...
No.
He's an improviser, and I try to stay away from those people, but
Yeah.
he said to me...
Want to play?
I
Thanks
said-
for playing with me. That's what they say when you improv with them. Thanks for playing with me. Oh, fuck you.
Some of them are geniuses, like Andy Daly.
Yeah.
Fucking genius.
And Andy Dick.
Andy
He is an improv genius.
Is he?
Oh my God, the best.
It's been overshadowed.
The best I've ever seen. It's a shame. I know. It's
Do you
really
know
a shame.
Andy?
I know him very well. Yeah,
I know him. You know, he seems like a very sweet guy.
he's a very sweet, loving guy who just has got a broken fucking hard drive. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
You know, he's drawn to danger. But wait, I want to hear more about
right.
you accepting yourself.
Oh, yeah. So, but here's something funny about the age thing, is that I said my age on stage at UCB, Upright Citizen Brigade Theater, and Billy Merritt was interviewing me or whatever, and he said, "Don't ever say that in public again." It was so old, you know? But
I don't give a fuck. I say my age all the time.
You do?
I feel like
How
I've
old are
earned
you?
it. I'm 55. I've earned it. You know?
See, this kills me. I'm older than everybody.
Yeah. You and Kindler.
Kindler, I
Yeah.
love Kindler
Yeah.
that he's around.
Yeah.
But I don't feel it because, like, for instance, I look at you and what you've done in your life, and I think you're older, much older than me. You raised two fucking kids. You know, I'm jerking off, you know, to, you know, in football, like Super Bowl, right? halftime means jerk off. You know what I mean? Like I'm still doing that.
You mean you schedule? Like, did you know the day before the game that during halftime?
I always know halftime at Super Bowl means pants down. Let's do it. The only difference now is that I really go in there with purpose.
Yeah.
Like, okay, let's finish this up.
Right.
Let's finish this up. Hopefully, halfway into halftime so I could take a walk before the second half. Like, you know what I mean? Whereas years ago, and this is my level of maturity now, I am maturing. Years ago, I would have spent the entire halftime jerking off to all kinds of porn. Like, you know how when
you don't jerk off to the halftime show. I just assume Eminem on a knee was
the
doing
only
it
thing
for
I
you.
ever jerked off to halftime show was when Chris Christopherson. I enjoy him. No, but but back in the day, I would just jerk off into the third quarter because I was younger and my desires were completely out of control. I was sort of like a well-behaved Andy Dick, if you know what I mean. Like it would all be self-punishment instead of fucking with others.
Really?
Well, you know what I mean? Like I have crazy. I think most comics have crazy sexual desires.
Yeah.
It's part of our makeup, I think. Don't you think?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I know you just look at the Comedy Store. I mean, over the last couple of years, it's like, what the fuck is going on here?
Oh, fucking perfect.
Yeah.
I didn't even, when I'm saying that, I'm not even realizing what just happened.
Yeah. And it's always been like that. I mean, it goes back. You hear about, who was the old comic who was a real perv? Was it Buster Keaton? One of those guys was like a real fucking perv.
Yeah, the history of it. Fatty Arbuckle.
Fatty Arbuckle. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, he got canceled when canceling wasn't a thing.
That's right. That's right.
But yeah, he. I don't know if it was. Well, was he convicted? He supposedly shoved a wine bottle up a woman.
Yeah.
You remember that?
I think there was kids involved too.
No.
Wait, let me look it up, Daddy Arbuckle.
But then again, there are pervs in every field. But there's something about what we do that makes us very susceptible to our desires of like adrenaline.
Yeah.
I had no idea I was going to start talking about all this shit.
Well, it's interesting because directors have it too. You look at, and I think part of it is that,
do.
Woody Allen
Polanski.
and Polanski, Louie.
Louie.
You know,
Louie's got both director comic.
Yeah, right. And I think that there's a feeling of indulging your vision.
That's a funny way to put it.
You know? It's like I have a vision of me masturbating in front of a girl, and I'm going to direct that. I'm going to make that happen, And that's the bravery it takes to make. I mean, the kind of stuff Louie's done in his TV shows are fucking brilliant. Like somebody.
Yes.
Like we were just talking about scenes at the Comedy Store last night. They were so like Kafka-esque and like Woody Allen inspired and just so different. And it takes bravery to indulge that vision that you have.
So true, man.
Yeah.
You know what I've started doing recently that's taught me about that is I've started painting.
Really?
And let me tell you something. If you ever do this shit, if you ever start painting, you come into contact with the fact that, oh, fuck, if I draw a line here, I'm going to fuck this whole painting up. And you know what you do? You go, at least I go, fuck it, I'm going to do it anyway. And that's an act of courage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like painting is this real immediate thing of like, I'm going to just go for it.
And it's 1,000 choices. Every time you make a brushstroke, it's a choice. Right.
At least the way I do it. I don't like say I'm going to do a beach scene. I'm like, okay, let's see what I want to do. I got colors. I got this. It's abstract what I do.
Oh, it's all abstract.
Yeah, I don't want to brag.
You can't brag about being abstract. You have to go. I have to go abstract.
Look, it's a little obtuse.
I do sort of a vague painting experience. It's not. You can't tell what it is, but I know. I know what it is.
I could show you some later.
Really?
Yeah, after the podcast.
You know who's amazing is Kevin Nealon.
Does he paint?
Oh my God.
Oh.
Kevin Nealon does portraits.
Oh,
they're
shit.
like,
shit.
They're not quite caricatures, but they're caricature-esque. And I mean,
I can't do that.
He's got a real gift.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Funny fucking guy, too.
Kevin Nealon.
Yeah.
I mean, the most underrated comic in the country.
I think that's very true.
Yeah.
I watch when Kevin, I haven't seen him, by the way, at the
No, he hasn't
store.
been around lately.
What the fuck? Anyway, when I see Kevin at the, whenever I see Kevin on stage, I go, oh, okay. This is what I'm missing. The lightness.
Yeah.
Like Kevin, like I'm too serious about it, which is partly why I'm funny too, but he's got this real just like, let's have some fun. And
Yeah.
It's very light and just silly.
Yeah, it's so silly. It's an experience. When he goes on, and there's 10 comics on the show, he's the one that you shift moods when he's on stage. Something changes.
Yeah.
It's an experience of like watching a child. It's like Brian Regan. It's like watching a child really, and they're both kind of clean, but it's not about being clean.
No.
It's more about being playful.
That's great.
and-
That's a great comparison because they actually both, if you think about them, have kind of the same stage movements.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. Have you ever played with movement on stage? Because you're very, like, I think you're very straightforward and you come up there and you kind of, it's cerebral, and I don't see you. Do you think you move a lot? Like guys like Nealon and Brian Regan move more than
Right, Sebastian. I mean, when I headline, I move much more because I got to do an hour and I got to keep that energy going. But when I'm at the store, I'm pretty much standing still and just delivering it. And when I'm on the road, I actually try more new stuff on the road than I do in town because
me too.
I feel like I can get them early with some old stuff. And then I got the whole middle to fuck around. And then I know I got to close it with some old stuff. But when I'm at the store, it's like I want to have a strong set. So I kind of just, But you always have crazy new stuff. You switch it up a lot.
I do.
That bit that you do about walking through the pharmacy.
Yeah, that's like one of my anchor bits. I
saw it grow into an anchor bit.
Oh, okay,
I saw you
probably
playing with it for a while
and
finding it.
Yeah.
Because you creatively, you are like a painter on stage. You go up, you have a premise, you put it out there, and then you sort of like, it's like you're codependent with the audience. You are so enmeshed in how they're reacting that it spurs you into your next brushstroke. Like you get giddy when they're laughing and you explode into a new thought or a new angle on the bit. And it's a bunch of like big fucking, who's that painter, the abstract expressionist?
Pollock?
Yeah, you're like Jackson Pollock. Just big wild brushstrokes.
Yeah.
And sometimes they work and sometimes they don't, but the energy
isn't that, I mean, what do you think? I mean, isn't that the most fun of what we do?
Yeah.
Is to like, we have that approval from the audience. We feel it. And it's like, let's fucking play. Like you just were talking about with Nealon and Brian Regan. It's like, man, this is why I do it. The flip side is when I don't feel the audience with me, it's like, oh, fuck.
Then you get angry.
I get angry sometimes.
You get angry.
I'm way better. I used to like get angry.
But it snaps them out of it. It's like,
true.
I see dead crowds at the Improv and people are going up there and fucking choking on their own vomit, one after the next, like lemmings. And then you come up and you just go like, I'm not having it. And you just you get angry and they suddenly wake up.
Yeah.
Or they don't, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, I've reached a point where it's like, if I'm watching a crowd for a while, I'm like, and I think they suck. I'm just, or the energy of the whole show sucks. I'm like, all right, you have to fucking mix this up.
Yeah.
Whereas if I was a younger comic, that would have flipped me out
Yeah.
a little bit.
Right.
I just would have went up and been like, why do you hate so much, folks?
Yeah. Why am I destined to fail right now?
Yes.
Yeah, no, that is definitely because when you think about going out and doing a spot at night, sometimes you just had a nice dinner. You're sitting on the couch
dude.
watching Netflix with your lady.
I'm glad
and you're like, I got to go do a 10:20. And
I actually talked to the audience about that. I'm like, I don't want to be here. And they laugh a lot at that because I mean it.
Yeah.
I'm like, look, I don't want to be here. I was just sleeping with my dog.
Yeah.
Seriously, I was sleeping with my dog not 45 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And now I look at you people. It's true, right? How do you bounce out? I guess just kicks in.
It's amazing. So I was at the dinner last night. Me and my wife went to a friend's house. This couple, they made us a nice meal, pasta, which I'm always like,
it's heavy
I can't eat
before
pasta
a show.
before a show. And you got to eat it. What are you going to do? And then they bring out these fucking roasted pears with a wine sauce, and they keep going, have another one, So then you show up and you're kind of bloated, and Chris Rock is on, and all of a sudden he does a pop in, and you're following fucking Chris Rock, and you're just like, all right, I gotta find it, and you just do it, and it's for $20. You're doing it all for $20.
It was the OR, yeah, man, yeah, because what a survival instinct kicks in when you're in front of a crowd, even though not one time. I took an anti-anxiety med and overate.
Oh.
Like before a show at the store, and it was the last time I bombed. And I really went, and it was a little painful because I had a couple of friends there who hadn't seen me.
That's the worst. I don't like people coming to see me.
I don't give a shit at this point, but I bombed. I didn't expect that. I don't bomb that much.
Right.
But I really went down.
What's the closest you ever came to a gay experience? Like a physically gay experience?
Do you that sort of, what you just did was sort of like when they have someone on a lie detector and they're like, when were you born? What's your favorite color? And then they go, did you murder Nicole Simpson? And the guy just answers. You would try to. I actually, there was a gay gentleman when I'm wondering how old I was. I think I was around, I want to say 17, 18. And let's see, I'm trying to think. This woman, Vicky, it was her friend, and I liked Vicky. I was attracted to Vicky. And her friend Peter had a thing for me. And
was he a good-looking guy?
He was okay. Not, he was no, I'm trying to think of a good-looking guy.
Sebastian.
That we would know. Sebastian.
Although
That's just the funny one. He was no Brian Holtzman. Let's put it that way. No, he was a pretty good-looking guy. But he says to me, and this was scary. It actually became a scary thing because he was a pretty big guy.
Yeah.
And he said, I feel like you're coming on to me. I feel like there's something in your eyes that's coming on.
That's a great pickup line.
I'll tell you, it worked with me in the sense that he confused me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I don't, am I? Because I'm a bit of a coquette. You know that. Especially when I'm driving.
Yeah.
I get in traffic and I'm making eyes at a lot of different people in cars, like, when you're stopped at a light and you're just like, hey, how are you, sir?
And then you forget you're in a 12-year-old Honda Accord. You haven't shaven. But my eyes are pretty. Maybe they'll just look at my eyes.
Yeah. But so this guy, we hung out a few times, usually with a mutual friend. And then one time I was just hanging with him alone, and he fucking just lunged at me and started this whole thing like, you really do want me, right? And he pinned me. He fucking pinned me to the ground, and I couldn't get him off me. And it immediately got rid of a stereotype I had about gay men, that they're weak, you know?
Right.
No, this guy. And he pinned me to the ground. But you know what? He didn't do anything because I was so adamantly opposed, you know?
Right.
But I think, and then...
But he made a move. That was his move. Do you think that was him out of control, or do you think that was a calculated, like, I'm going to go alpha on this move?
Oh, I think it was the latter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He thought it would work.
Yeah, I think so.
You. Yeah.
I think so.
That's
It was
interesting.
scary, and
Yeah.
you know. And then the other time, I jerked off a couple of guys. No, I jerked off a football team, you know, who had a tradition.
I had no idea. I hadn't heard of the tradition, and I've since checked into it, and they haven't done it
University
since.
of Hawaii. I was in Maui. I felt very free.
They had just won the game, so I was like, I can buy him a beer, or I can really go for it here.
What's that? You don't want a beer? You want what? Oh, all right, let me get. You do have lotion, okay? I guess line them up alphabetically. I would assume.
Alphabetically, or do you want to go by position or wide receiver? That's a weird move to go that aggressive with a guy who's straight. I would think the better move is go gentle, like saying you're coming on to me is brilliant, because it puts that thought in your head, and it makes you are forced to question whether or not you were doing that. So now you've thought about it, and then something gentle. Let me hold your hand. If you let me hold your hand.
Look, I'm sexually repressed as it is.
Oh, you are.
Oh yeah, I think I'm very aware of that. Like, I'm much better than I was.
Yeah.
But our growing up in my family, it was so dysfunctional.
Italian family?
Italian Jewish.
Oh.
And not that I don't know what that means, but
because I think a Jews is more open sexually, more in touch with sexuality.
Well, my mother was bipolar.
Oh, okay.
So all this kind of weird sexual, anyway, I don't want to get into the whole thing, but I've never been like, oh, let's explore. I'm always like, instead of, oh, let's explore, I'm like, Jesus, I hope this works.
You're playing defense. You just don't want it to go bad. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Right. I think so.
You're not thinking of a new way to do it.
So, and I remember another time, it always involved, by the way, the gay experiences always involved a woman as well.
Triangulating.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was another one in, what was the college? It's a famous college in New Hampshire, Williams. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you've ever heard, but it's in the Berkshires.
Yeah.
And I was there to visit a girlfriend.
Was it a women? It was a women's college, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I think it's one of there's like 5 women's colleges in Massachusetts.
I remember
and that's
going,
one of
this
them.
is great. You remember in Monty Python, which one was it? Knights of the Round Table. What did they call that?
Life of Brian?
No. The first one. Anyway.
The Holy Grail?
The Holy Grail.
Yeah.
Do you remember when Galahad went into a castle, and it was all women who just wanted, to give him fellatio. It was one of the most hilarious things. And then John Cleese comes and rescues him, and he's like, no, I can take care of these. And he's like, come on. And he no, I think I got it. That was my feeling at Williams. Like, whoa, this is a great college.
Right.
But then she had a friend over or whatever, a guy, and he was very attractive. I remember he was a good-looking guy.
Yeah.
And I remember he was coming on to me, and of course, pot was involved. That was always another, thing. Some drugs and alcohol was involved. And he kind of started putting his hands on me, and I was conflicted, but nothing happened.
You were conflicted?
Yeah, a little conflicted, because I was like, oh, I was like, oh, he's very attractive. Oh, hi, David. His name was David. Hi, David. Was it a tell? No, it wasn't a tell. Hi, David. But I think if I was a more healthy person, and I don't know if this is true or not, maybe I would have experimented. But I
feel like that. I mean, I'm repressed too. I grew up Irish Catholic, Bronx Irish Catholic.
There's no more repressed than that, right?
And I mean, sex was so shameful. And
so
I still feel guilty after orgasms. I'm racked with guilt. I can't.
Are you kidding?
I got to give myself a few hours afterwards to kind of like recover emotionally. I can't plan anything.
I just fall asleep.
Really? Oh, you're at peace with masturbation. You own it. It's part of you.
Yeah. At this point.
But I almost had a couple gay experiences, and I look back and I wish I'd done it. I really do.
Yeah, I know.
Because I just feel like...
You might be a different guy. Your whole act would be so different.
Yeah. I talk about one of the stories on stage.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I don't think I heard it.
Well, I'm not going to tell it because I've told it on the podcast before. But
okay.
Long story short, I went into the woods in Boston. There's like a gay woods. And I was going to blow a guy just to see what it was like. Because at the time, I was an English major and I was reading Kerouac and Ginsberg and, Emerson and Whitman and all this gay poetry. And I loved, Iggy Pop and Mick Jagger and David Bowie. And I just thought, this is what, you experiment. You try everything. And I'd already been with...
This was your glam rock phase.
I wore mascara when I would go to dance clubs.
Did you?
Yep.
See, that doesn't sound too repressed to me.
Well, it was because my friend, who it turns out later on was gay, my best friend growing up, turned out to be gay. Mm-hmm. And then, I became very close with Kevin Meaney.
Oh, okay.
He was at my wedding party. He was like my mentor, and then one of my close friends. He came out of the closet. Then my friend Tom, who I was neighbors with in Little Italy, and then we moved to L.A. at the same time and got moved in next to each other in Venice.
Holy shit.
He came out of the closet at 50.
At 50?
And then there's a couple comics that who I'm very close to, who came out after years of friendship. And I just think, what the fuck is the world telling me here? This is weird,
Yeah.
And so I've always been extremely attracted to women. I love their body parts. I love their feel. There's no doubt in my mind I am heterosexual. Yeah. But the adventurous part of me that wants to explore everything in life regrets that when I was younger and would have been a viable option for another man. Now it would be a pity fuck. Or it would be like, I have to blow him and he doesn't blow me back. It'd be one of those encounters.
I think it would be an abduction in your case at this point. It would be an abduction of a very sick individual who's fleeing things.
I'm at Hertz going, you got any vans with no windows? I just need it for an hour.
Yeah, I need it for an hour. All right, bub. Take that. Take mine.
Take mine. It's got childproof locks.
Yeah, man. What brought this on? Like, is this a question now you ask all your guests?
I've come up with a set of questions that I ask guests because I just feel like it's funny to just ask random questions. I bet.
Let me ask you this. Have your guests mostly been open to talking about this, or are there some who are like, who slough it off?
I'm shocked at how little homosexuality goes on among straight men. Because with women, you got about a 70% success rate of her saying, yeah, I've kissed a girl in college. It happens.
Kissing a girl, huh?
But men don't even kiss each other.
No, I never had a big kiss except, let me think, did I kiss the plumber? I was so ecstatic he relieved that fucking clogged drain.
Oh, God. Here's the next question. Mm-hmm. Have you ever walked off stage
during a set?
Ooh.
Because people don't understand as a comedian, like the brushstrokes that a painter makes, you are making choices on stage as a stand-up, and one of those choices is always fight or flight. Like, I fuck this, they're not listening, the bouncers aren't doing their job, you know,
Yeah.
I feel threatened.
Yeah. One time I did.
You did.
And that was very early on.
Uh-huh.
It was early on where I lost control of the crowd. I did, I guess, the worst. Is this the worst thing a comic can do? I said, oh, really? You think you can do better? Come on up here.
Oh, wow.
And
Abdicated the mic.
And this guy came up. And he was, of course, drunk and whatever. And I just was like, and it was going bad before that, obviously, you know. And I just fucking walked off. I just.
Oh, you didn't stand and wait to see how he did. You just were like,
I
take
did.
over.
I watched him for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, I think I waved to the owner or whatever.
Wow.
But this was, I mean, this was maybe the first year.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One of
Isn't
my
it amazing all these years and it hasn't happened again?
It's
it's amazing.
hasn't.
That's amazing.
It hasn't. How about you? I mean,
The
at
only
this
time
point,
the only time I walked off stage, I was opening for They Might Be Giants at Kent State University, and it was an outdoor show. It was like their spring fling thing, and they had
Ohio, right?
yeah.
We're dead in Ohio.
Hey, we're dead in and look at this. The fucking blooms are coming out on the trees already. It's February.
Oh
Isn't
my
that
God.
weird?
Yeah. Well, it's been 85.
Yeah, that's all it takes. 1 week of 85 and everything blooms. I was so it was an outdoor show and they had kegs set up and it was an all day. There was bands all day and I was a comedian going on in between two bands and I was supposed to bring up They Might Be Giants, who were lovely people, by the way. And
I
so
love their shit.
great shit, fun, funny
New
guys.
Amsterdam. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So I'm on stage, and they really would rather see They Might Be Giants than me at this point. Nobody knows who the fuck I am, and so I'm not doing well. No one's paying attention, and then they're yelling at me to get off stage, and then somebody throws an apple. I didn't see it coming, and it hit me in the chest, and like literally, it was like, so anyway, I don't like maps because thump. Good night. Have a good day. And I just fucking turned around and walked off.
You would just like, fuck this.
I feel like the line is crossed. Once you throw something or touch me, I have the right
if
to
it
leave
would
the
have hit
stage.
your fucking nose, it could have broken
Right.
your nose or
Right.
knocked your teeth out. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
got off, and They Might Be Giants were fucking laughing their asses off.
Were they?
Yeah, well, I was kind of friends with them, and they just thought it was so funny how bad I was bombing. They're like, you were glad you got hit by an apple, weren't you? I was like, yeah, I'll take the apple.
Well, it's at some, there are shows where you can't do anything. You can't do anything about it. I'm trying to think of another show where, I was in Edinburgh, right? Have you ever done that festival?
That's when you do like 3 weeks straight, right? In the same room?
Fucking 30 you do 29 shows in 30 nights.
Whoa.
But anyway, and I would, not only, those are the hour-long things, but I would pick up side gigs. And there was this famous gig, famous for the crowd, like if they didn't like you, they would fucking just heckle you.
Really?
If they didn't like you. And it's so European there, that the guys who really did well were guys who, like, had been around the world, like Tom Rhodes killed with this crowd.
Yeah.
I was booed, heckled off the stage. They came and got me. I didn't leave, though.
Okay.
I didn't leave.
Yeah.
I was, like, just yelling at them.
Your
going,
corner threw in the towel.
My corner threw in the towel.
Yeah.
All right. Whoever came up and just said, come on, there'll be other days, kid. I was destroyed. But, I felt like it, and this is a maturity thing, too. I felt like it wasn't fair what they did to me, and I didn't blame myself at all. It seemed to be just an impossible situation.
Yeah. It's also...
Boo! They would, I think I told one joke, and they were like, boo! like they love doing that.
I think that is the best thing that can happen. Like I was just in Boston and Bill Burr was in town and he was doing, I think the Wilbur or something. But then he stopped by Laugh Boston to do a show. And
you were doing Laugh Boston?
Yeah, I just did it a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
And so
is that the one in the hotel?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun room.
Okay.
And so Bill stops by to do some shit. And they go, well, Bill, it's a bunch of moms. It's a moms organization, and blah blah blah. And he was in the middle of that phase where he was doing like, women being a mom isn't a hard job. They say it's the hardest job in the world, and it's the easiest. So he goes up and does that, and fucking tanks. And he's like, wow, I haven't bombed that hard in 15 years. And he goes,
when was this, by the way?
Like a year ago.
Okay.
And he goes, and it felt good. Something about touching the bottom of the ocean once in a while feels good. Like, okay, that's as bad as it is for all the fear. Because going on stage, do you get scared when you go on stage? Yes. There's always a little part of you that's afraid. And that little part of you that's afraid is afraid of that moment. What? I was on stage and a bunch of people weren't digging me.
True.
And it lets you then, first of all, you regroup and you're energized to do better next time. Which
that's exactly
you
right.
always kill on the next show after you bomb.
That's very true. Because I just told you about a bomb I had at the store, and the next day I was writing.
Yeah.
I was sitting down and I was going, because I don't know about you, but the way we perform in town is I'm like, all right, I'm here.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Instead of preparing.
Right.
But after I bombed, I was like, okay, let me do this. I'll do this. And, let me write a little. I was ready.
Yeah.
Right. You ever have 2 bombs in a row, or like you get into a bad groove? Did you ever have that?
I've had bad grooves.
Yeah, like a couple of
I've had grooves that are so bad that I literally say to myself in a hotel room in Cleveland, why am I funny again? Like, what's my thing? What's my angle? What's my voice?
What's my angle?
I go that dark. Yeah.
Yeah, I've had that too, where and I've said this before, but when you bomb as a stand-up, you immediately feel like an amateur.
Yeah. Yes.
No
Because you don't have a job title.
I think so.
You can't just stand up there and go, wait a minute, I'm senior vice president.
Yeah.
You guys have to all...
Look, I've been sanctioned. No, you're as good as the guy community says you are.
Right.
Totally.
You have no more, other than, look, you and I have a draw. We can go out on the road and we can draw crowds, but not big ones. Right. And that's fine. And if I go on at the Comedy Store, there's maybe 50% of the crowd knows who I am.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
So that gives me a little bump.
Right.
But I still got to earn it. After the first joke, they're not giving you anything. They give you the first joke.
Yeah.
And then you're the same as the guy that just started.
Absolutely.
Then all of a sudden, you're following Jesus Trejo, who they don't know who fucking Jesus Trejo is. And he's going up there with these crafted fucking bombs, killing. Boom, boom, boom. And now you go up and you're like, all right, we know you. You better be better than that guy, because we never heard of Jesus Trejo. Which, by the way, you will hear of Jesus Trejo a year from now. I think he's going to have a monster year.
Oh, wow, great.
I think he's going to
like him. He's such a great
He's
guy.
a great dude. He was a door guy at the store for a long time.
Oh, was he?
And he's just a funny guy. He lives with his family still.
He does?
Yeah. And he's like, he did a joke last night. He walked on and he said, he goes, I wouldn't be any good in an escape room. I'm 37 and I still live with my parents.
That is fucking funny.
But he's got this deep voice and this conviction, and he's been getting a lot, because a lot of guys left the store and there's a new booker. He suddenly got in heavy rotation, and you can see it. You can see how strong he's gotten from doing a lot of sets. Yeah.
Yeah, the store really helped me too. But that is so true, that you're as good as, they give you one joke.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's also interesting for me to follow a guy like, in the main room, I did this a few weeks ago. I followed Jesselneck.
Yeah.
Who very crafted. I mean, it's so fucking crafted.
Yeah.
And then I come up there and there's no craft. And I'll talk about that. I'll say, look, This is a change of pace,
Yeah,
folks.
right.
All right? You want your one-liners, your little one-liners about dead babies. This ain't it. Or whatever the fuck.
You've done that to me where you go on after me and you go, all right, folks, we're not going to talk about fucking our wives or kids.
Children,
and I
maybe,
stand back and I go, oh my God, am I like, is he shitting on me? And then you stop and you go, no, it's Eddie. He's just fucking, he's just.
I think that's partly like, an insecurity of like, okay, I gotta fucking establish dominance here or something.
Yeah. Right.
Because I'm insecure.
It's like a dog. You smell piss on a hydrant. You piss on top of the piss.
That's it. That would be funny if we went and just pissed on mics. And there was a little moat around it so we could do it.
You just back up to it and spray it like pheromones.
That's very true because I always wondered why my dog did that.
Yeah.
And now I get it.
Yeah.
At least emotionally.
Right.
Yeah.
What's a guy like you making a year?
Making, I would say, honestly, 70.
Yeah.
Something like that.
That's a healthy living. And
Is
then
it?
is your
I mean-
wife making money too?
No.
No money.
No money. It's all daddy.
What does she do? Or
She's
not
a-
do? She's a writer, right?
She's a writer.
Yeah.
She's really working hard at it, but it's, you do it.
Fucking kidding me?
It's fucking hard.
It's a tough
and
racket.
she's,
And the only way to get a job is have a job. That's who they hire. The people that have jobs. So if you go on a cold streak, it's really hard to get back in again.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Even when you have Emmys?
It depends on the job. Like, there's sometimes I'll get offered a job and I'll just say, I know the producer and I know the work conditions and life's too short for that. So I've gotten more choosy as I've gotten older.
See, you've gotten choosier.
When I was young, I went from writing on Ellen to the Man Show. Like I worked for fucking everybody. I had no. People talk about like you have to have a voice as a writer. That's such a crock of shit. You have to be funny to be a writer. You can write for. I've written for Black, Latino, lesbian, Man Show. Like I've written for so many black shows.
You have.
And I don't know anything about black culture, but I wrote for Cedric the Entertainer on his show. I wrote for Jamie Foxx. I wrote for Wanda Sykes. I wrote for Patrice O'Neill.
You've wrote for all of them. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, I would think
Affion Crockett.
Who?
Affion Crockett. He's really funny impressionist. He had a sketch show on Fox.
And you
Right
didn't
on
know
that.
anything about black culture, really. And you
I know
were
how
just
to
able
write
to be
funny
fucking
shit.
funny.
Just be funny.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. I would think you would always get jobs because you know so many people in the biz.
That helps.
And that's kind of how I get jobs.
Yeah. Right.
You know, like the writers of a show will say, let's not to write. I don't have the only writing job I ever had was here in Hollywood was for Norm Macdonald.
You wrote on the sports show
Yeah.
with Mike Gibbons.
Yes.
No shit.
The pilot.
Okay.
And they didn't pick me up.
Oh.
Daniel Kellison was involved in
They didn't
that.
pick you up because they hired guys like fucking Steve O'Donnell from Saturday Night Live. Like,
Yeah, what a joke.
Steve O'Donnell or Steve Donahue?
I forget.
He was like the most legendary. Like people were coming out of the woodwork to write on that show. They had a crazy writing staff. Frank Sebastiano.
Yeah, and I was the first timer that got recommended to Norm.
Yeah.
And Norm, and I remember going in, and Comedy Central wasn't paying me dick
Right.
to do this pilot.
Uh-huh.
But they would say shit to me like, we're only paying you this amount, but make the office your home. Like, just come in there. So I would go in sometimes, and I just would love listening to Norm's stories.
Yeah.
I would just listen to his stories.
Yeah. That's amazing.
It was just so fucking funny.
Wow.
Talked about his gambling addiction. I was like, holy fuck.
He was a man with a real life. He lived a real life,
Yeah.
I didn't even know he had a kid.
Yeah.
Nobody
kid.
knew about that. Yeah.
Is that right?
I mean, he didn't talk about it in his act or anything. But he was my first writing job.
Is that right?
I opened for him in Boston back in like 93. And he goes, you're 95, whatever. And he's like, you're really funny. He goes, you want to write jokes for Weekend Update? And I said, great.
Fuck.
So he gave me a fax
That was your
number.
first one?
Well, he gave me the fax number. And every week I'd get together with Mike Gibbons. He was my best friend from college, still my best friend. And
Is he still your best buddy?
Yeah, yeah. We do a podcast together, Sunday Papers, every Sunday for like
that's
the
you
last
and
couple of
Gibbons?
years. Yeah, he was my best man at my wedding. And
Holy shit.
so
Is he a Boston guy like you?
New York guy.
New York guy.
Our fathers were friends in the Bronx.
Oh, okay.
And our daughters are really tight. They go to the same school. They were born a week apart.
Fuck.
Yeah. So we started faxing in jokes every week for 5 months. Every week, we'd fucking write all night, fax them in, watch the show on Saturday, never get a joke in, never get a joke in, never. And so then
What
we
is
just
that
gave
about?
up. Well, we gave up, and then Mike got the job as head writer on the sports show. And so he got to know Norm, and he goes, by the way, I just want to tell you, and I totally understand. You have no bad feelings about it, but we wrote jokes for you for like 5 months at Weekend Update. We faxed them in every week, and we never got one on. And he goes, with Greg Fitzsimmons? He's like, yeah. He goes, I never got a fax from Greg Fitzsimmons. He goes, I was the one who went to the fax machine and took the jokes out. I read every one. I got the wrong number. He gave me the wrong fax number. Who
was getting these
some Wall Street broker was the funniest guy in the office every Friday. He had all these topical jokes.
Oh my God, is that true?
Yeah.
You would wonder why whoever was getting them wouldn't send little fax back after 4 weeks.
I know.
And say, hey, this is I don't know who you try.
I don't know who.
That's
I don't know why you're obsessed with
crazy.
Crack Horse, but these jokes are not really. We can't use them around the office.
Or this guy set up an anchor thing, and whoever you were mailing him to, and started his own update in the office. That is fucking hilarious.
So it was my first non-writing job.
I never got that.
All right, here's another question for Eddie Pepitone. Daddy here he goes. Fatty Arbuckles. Was it Daddy? Fatty. Let's go down to controversies.
Fatty Arbuckle.
Yeah, and I pulled it up. There were trials.
I don't think he got convicted. Am I right, or did he?
William Randolph Hearst was going after him, and morality groups called for him to be sentenced to death. Wait, what did he do?
To death.
What did he do?
He raped somebody.
I'll have to read it later. It's a long Wikipedia entry. There were a lot of trials, but
wow. Jerry, what's his name? Jerry. He wrote for Marin. He was a famous heroin addict on Alf. Jerry?
Oh yeah.
I can't remember his last
He wrote a
name.
book about it, right? Wasn't
I
there a
Fatty.
movie about it? Oh.
He wrote a book called I
Okay,
Fatty. It
yeah.
was supposed to be great. I didn't read it. Yeah.
What did you learn about yourself in the last 2 years?
What did I learn about myself in the last 2 years? Oh, pandemic. I'm thinking, is that why you picked that?
Yeah, there was. Oh, I should have said that in the question.
like-
There was a pandemic for the last 2 years. Sorry about that. And what did you learn about yourself during that time?
Wow. I learned that I learned how to be with we were talking a little bit before about self-acceptance.
Yeah.
And I think before we came on the air, I found it funny that you said this office saved you and you have this gorgeous house. And I have a 2-bedroom in North Hollywood where I want to kill myself every day.
Is it at least on a nice quiet street, a little cul-de-sac?
No. It is not. No, but I think I learned because it was about 3 months into the pandemic. I've been sober for a while.
How long?
3 months. Depending on who you believe. It was like 9 years, but 3 months into the pandemic.
Okay.
And before that, I had 5 years. Like, basically the last, I think, 20 years, I've been in and out.
Yeah.
But mostly in,
Yeah.
meaning sober. Anyway, after 9 years, 3 months into the pandemic, for some reason, I thought it'd be a very good idea to get a vape pen. And I swear to God, because I was like, fuck it.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Right.
You know, that was the point where, you know, it was very like the world is fucking ending. Also, I'm not doing shows anymore. I'm not out and about. I'm just fucking staying home. And I was getting cabin fever, you know, and I started smoking weed again. And it was amazing how quickly I turned into Beavis and Butthead.
Just sat on the couch.
It was just amazing how I couldn't go more than an hour without hitting the pen.
Wow, you have an addictive personality.
I have so I learned that again, and I quit again, and I feel like my sobriety is better than it was before that.
Are you a meeting guy?
I am now.
Sponsor?
Yeah. Wow. The sponsor's important for me.
Right.
For me, but it's weird. I have a weird relationship to the 12-step program because there are times, and a lot of times, where I just go, fuck this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
I got to live life. I can't be going, well, this is step 1, 2, or 3.
Yeah.
And like, I actually am pretty funny in the meetings. I used to not be funny in meetings. I would
love to see you in a meeting. Jesus Christ. Because it's the greatest comedy show because the premise is we all fucked up. Let's talk about it.
And also, it's almost like being at a wake a lot of times. Because everybody, you know, there are meetings where people are so fucking serious, or the people who are trying to be funny aren't that funny.
Right.
And Zoom has been...
Oh, right. There were Zoom meetings.
Well, that's why I make a lot of them. They're so easy to make. But actually, when I go on the road, I have trouble even making a Zoom meeting because I'm just tired.
Yeah. And
when I'm tired, I don't want to go on the computer and listen to a bunch of fucking sets. I like to sleep in those hotel beds. I love hotels.
Yeah.
But so Zoom has made it very easy to be funny.
Wow.
For me.
So how long were you smoking for?
About 3 months. Hiding it.
Did your wife know?
This was what was funny because my wife is sober.
Oh.
I hid it from her.
You did?
Now, check this out. I was like a little child, like a little kid. I'd be like with the vape pen. It was an odorless pen, right? Which I was like, this is what an advancement this is.
No
like,
matches,
technology,
no ashtray, nothing.
Technology has gotten incredible. It's odorless, no matches. And I'd be like, honey, are you going to take a shower?
Yeah.
And she'd be like, yeah, I'm going to take a shower. And I'd be like, okay, then. And I would open the kitchen window and just be like, you know, and then go on my iPad and watch a movie or whatever.
And where would you hide the pen?
That is a funny thing, too. I would hide it in books on the shelf. And sometimes, and I knew I was getting fucked up. I knew that I was progressively getting, you know, right back to where I was as a pothead, you know, when I was younger, because I'd get paranoid, shit like this, like, oh, I don't think I should put it in the Sherlock Holmes book because I think she's going to fucking go in there. Like, I would move the pen to different books out of paranoia.
And you would try to guess and forecast what books you might pull off the shelf?
Yeah.
Wow.
That was crazy.
What shame you must have been feeling, hiding it from your wife like that?
Dude, and then, you know why I stopped? It wasn't me. I fucking was in the window, and I turn around, and she's there with her hand out going, give me the fucking pen or whatever she said, joint.
Wow.
Because she saw me blowing the smoke out.
Wow.
And I was like, my first thing was to say, what pen? Even though she saw the smoke coming out. And I just gave it to her. And you want to talk about like guilt and shame and all that shit.
How did she handle it?
She was pissed that I was hiding it.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was pissed. So,
and that sent you back in the rooms, or
yes.
Right.
Because let me tell you something. I didn't want to quit.
Yeah.
I was at that stage in the addiction thing where it's like, I don't want to give this up.
Yeah.
I actually, and I contacted a couple of guys, and I actually was on the phone like a child going, I don't want to do the 12 steps.
Yeah.
I actually.
Yeah.
And then I came into acceptance. And then after like a couple of meetings, I was like, whew, I dodged a bullet. I'm glad I'm, sober.
That's the beauty of sobriety is I remember I had a friend, and I'm not going to say his name, but you might know him, but he was a writer on a show that I worked on.
Right.
And he had gotten sober young. Like he was one of those like guys like Bobby Lee or Jim Norton who like was a real fuck up as a teenager and then got sober at like 18. And this guy was now in his 30s, and he's like, I'm thinking about trying it again. I want to know, what do you think? Because I haven't had a drink in 30 years, but I started about 10 years ago. I started smoking a little bit of weed, and it works for me. So, but at the time I wasn't smoking weed. I was fully sober. And so he was looking for guidance from me. And I was like, look, I'm not really a meeting guy. I've gone to meetings, but I'm not like, I can't counsel you. And so I called my aunt, who's been in AA for fucking 30, 40 years. And I said, this guy wants to step out just to test it again. What do you think? And she goes, and I thought she was going to go tell him to get a sponsor, get to a meeting. And she goes, sometimes you need to bottom out a little bit. Sometimes you got to go connect with your bottom again to remind you why you're getting sober.
Just what we said about bombing on stage.
Yeah. So I said that to him. And then there was a rap party. We would tape on Fridays, and then there would be a rap party afterwards, just on the stage. And the showrunners would pull out this guy, John Bowman, who's this amazing showrunner who just passed away. God bless him.
Yeah.
He would pull out like a good bottle of scotch, and everybody would drink, and me and this guy wouldn't. And so that Friday, he had a drink, and then he had another drink, and then we all left. And then on Monday, he didn't show up to work. Tuesday, didn't show up to work. Wednesday, he came in looking like a fucking train wreck. And eventually lost the job, went into lost his relationship with his fiance.
Oh, my God.
I'm calling my aunt going, now, I just want to double check on that. And his life has fallen apart.
Oh, shit.
And he was just recently arrested for storming the Capitol on January 6th.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. That, you see, yeah. But the thing is that you can't, like, let's say you would have counseled him, don't do that, call the sponsor, blah, 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 blah. I don't think you can do that to someone who wants to drink.
Yeah.
So he's still fucked up.
He's still fucked up.
How long ago was that?
20 years ago.
Oh, shit. See, and you hear that a lot. You hear that a lot about addicts. Some of them don't get back. They don't get back. They're that's the addictive shit.
Yeah.
And they become, again, addicted to, what is it? The adrenaline, the fucking, the euphoria is what it is.
Yeah.
Even though the euphoria gets replaced by fucking anxiety.
And shame.
Yeah.
Guilt.
But when I was in the middle of that, I was like, I'll deal with the shame and guilt just to get that feeling of like, yeah, baby.
Yeah.
I'm putting on a De Niro movie and nobody can stop me. Being a pothead is so kind of sad because it's like, I'm going to put on a De Niro movie, and then I'm going to eat lasagna, and then I have kettle corn. And that's like,
And that's enough. That's the greatest thing. That's the worst thing about kids, teenagers getting high is fun, but then you get into your 20s and you go like, you're way too easily satisfied. You get high and a Netflix movie, this whole Netflix and chill thing, that's pot. Going like, no, you don't need to go out and see a play. You don't need to write a fucking short film. You can just smoke pot and watch Netflix and TikTok, and you will be emotionally satisfied.
you know what? You won't until you're suicidal.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully you bottom out and you snap out of
You
it.
do. You get like, you get like at some point, and this has happened to me a bunch in my life when I'm using, is that, and even when I'm not using, I can oversaturate with stimulation, especially these days, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, matter of fact, do you ever short circuit? Like, do I watch YouTube or do I watch Hulu or Criterion Channel? I'm in the middle of an Elliot Gould movie on Criterion Channel, but Hulu, I want to see this Hank Azaria thing that everybody's telling me about. But then, then I'm like scrolling through Instagram.
And at the end of the day, you look up and you go, wow, I didn't do shit today.
Yeah. And you have to come down from that.
Yeah.
And you can't.
Right. And then you're trying to connect to your significant other, and you're over in fucking Elliot Gould land. You're in like a weird, isolated space where your high was not your high. It was somebody else's high. It was Elliot Gould's high. You were witnessing it. You didn't do anything.
Yes.
And now your wife is going like, "Hey, let's connect emotionally while we have a meal together." And you're like, "There's this Hank Azaria thing. I got to get to that. I got to go observe that now."
Yeah. You okay? You okay, sweetie?
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm just gonna, I have to do something. Yeah, man.
All right, next question. Who owes you money?
Dude, I helped this guy who was living in his van.
During the pandemic?
Yeah. And it was even, I got to know him before the pandemic, but during the pandemic, I gave him $300.
Were you just knew him from walking by him on the street?
No, we would hang out because not, he had a dog, and I take my dog into the same park that he would have his van hanging out in.
Yeah.
And, and we just connected on sports.
Yeah.
He's this huge sports guy, and we would and he's a Yankee fan, and, I love the Yankees, and so we'd be talking about the Yankees. And I really liked him.
Yeah.
And he kind of turned on me.
Really?
Yeah.
After you lent him the money, he turned on you?
Well, I don't think it was about the money. It's just like guys going through a ton of shit.
Yeah.
But I'm still a little pissed. Like, really? You're turning on me?
Yeah.
Motherfucker.
Did you expect the money back, or was this a gift?
I didn't expect it back.
Was it called a loan at the time?
No, I would say to him, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
If you get it, you get it.
Right.
Because he was waiting for, I don't know what his status is because I haven't talked to him about a year, but he was waiting for a disability thing. His story is that he was a bouncer in a West Hollywood club.
Yeah.
And fights would break out all the fucking time. And he
Big guy?
Big dude and a scrapper. He
Yeah.
could kill me. He could kill a lot of people.
Really?
And he's a hardened street guy at this point, too.
From New York originally?
Alabama.
Oh, shit. Damn.
Yeah. And like a guy who is not afraid, not afraid. I saw big dudes try to fuck with him.
Yeah.
And and I always admire that because I get afraid. He would just go, like he would just face them off, and it'd be interesting to see how they would back down.
Yeah. It's animal-like. Yeah, they sense it. Yeah.
I think so. They were like, I don't think I want to do it with this guy.
Right.
Because he was like, let's go.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, maybe I need to do that. No, I'll just make eyes at him. But yeah, his story was that he got injured badly in a fight in West Hollywood.
Oh.
Like he was throwing a guy out, and a couple of the friends jumped him and hit him with something, and he's got like pins in his
Jesus.
and like so he's supposed to get a settlement. And what they do is they keep pushing it. You need more proof from a lawyer. They're just fucking him over.
Yeah.
So I think he just slowly kind of lost it.
Substance issues?
You know what? Alcohol.
Yeah.
Alcohol, somewhat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well,
Yeah. So that's who owes me money. I don't think anybody else,
Who would you want to do your eulogy?
By the way, I just want to say this, that what you did for this guy, Jerry
Yeah.
Red Wilson, being funny at their eulogy. Brody, when he passed away,
Yeah.
were you at the store?
No.
Okay. Well, I was there.
Oh, wait. No, I was. Yeah.
Okay, well, do you remember this? It was sad. I mean, Brody hit hard.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And everybody felt it.
Right.
And I don't know if you remember, but Brody had 3 friends from high school.
Yeah.
And they came up and
They got up early.
They could barely talk, and Ross followed them.
Yeah.
And what he said absolutely killed me in it. And I said to Ross what people said to you, like, thanks, I needed that. Jeff, after these guys who knew Brody their whole lives, Jeff got up and he said, Jesus Christ, now I know why Brody killed himself.
Yeah, that was fucking great.
And it was really the first laugh, like a real belly laugh.
Yeah, that opened the floodgates. And then Zach went up and did this beautiful, because he cried and made you laugh at the same time.
Zach really impressed me, and I think he got work off of that funeral eulogy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And Mike Gibbons spoke.
Huh?
Mike Gibbons spoke.
He did.
Yeah, he got up because he was the showrunner. He created Brody's show on HBO. Yeah.
Oh shit.
That follow around
show. That was Mike who created it. Yeah, I was thinking it would have to be like such a close. I think my buddy Sean Conroy, who is just knows me, like he knows just the way I try to avoid life.
Uh-huh.
Yet I am one of the most self-righteous people about the way the society is run.
Yeah.
By the oligarchs and all this shit. And he always sees right through me. He goes, it isn't the oligarchs who are fucking you. It's that you just are one of the laziest human beings. And then I'm like, all right, so I'm not sure. There's definitely a percentage of the oligarchs, and then there's a percentage of my lazy, and I'm not sure.
That's fantastic. Do you talk about that on stage?
I don't.
Oh, dude, that's a funny premise.
Is it?
That it's not the oligarchs.
Because I'm always railing
Yeah.
about that shit. And it would be funny to say to the audience, look, all right, we spend $768 billion a year on the military budget. I don't think that's my problem. I've come to realize I just don't want to do any work toward.
Right. The patriarchy has roots in Western manifest destiny. And I cannot stop jerking off. I just can't. My hand and my dick just find each other. I'm doing research on the patriarchy. I'm writing essays for the New Yorker, but they can't get done because I need to release.
How true is that about like blame, when you're a big blamer, like, these motherfuckers are fucking everybody. You're also definitely a lazy guy.
Yeah. Right.
Because I think the busy people don't have time.
I've found that a lot of the big voices you hear out there are people that have been successful enough that they have the time to get involved. You're right. The
so,
working people don't.
They don't.
Yeah.
They're like, they hear it, you know.
All right, last question.
Mm-hmm.
What's the hackiest bit you ever did?
Hackiest.
Yeah.
Fuck.
It's a hard one because you're the furthest thing from a hack.
Right. Like I don't.
But we all started somewhere.
Right. Oh man, when I was starting, I would. You know what I did, dude? I had wigs when I first started.
No, you didn't. No fucking way.
I did. And I remember thinking, this is a very good idea. And I would put on, and to me it was a pisser too because I'm bald like you, and I would put on a long wig and I would take a British accent and I would be like, I'd get on stage and I'd go like, hey man, what's up folks? What's up man? You know, my father is bothering me to get a haircut, but I'm like, I'm a rocker, dude. And then I would take that wig
Would it
off.
kill?
No. I did very little killing early on. I was an emotional wreck getting on stage early on.
Right.
Matter of fact, I'd be in the bathroom. I remember doing open mics at I don't know if you remember this place. You're from New York. The Eagle Tavern.
Sounds
on
familiar.
14th and 9th in Chelsea. It's
the
not
meatpacking district.
Whatever you want to call it, your gay thing. But I would be there and in the bathroom before going on, throwing up because I was so nervous.
No shit.
And I'd be asking myself, what are you doing this for?
Yeah.
I had no answer.
Isn't that weird that you had this pretty big obstacle to doing this for a living? I mean, if you have that kind of anxiety and you push through it, there's something in you that really has a belief that this is what you're supposed to do.
That's right. And that's why I think it's kind of wild when people ask me, hey, you have any tips being a stand-up? And I say, be mentally ill. Have completely no self-esteem and need to prove your worth, even though I guess there are different types of comics, but I'm one of those comics.
No, now there's the new breed of comics that are juicing and exercising and doing social media, and they're very
Is that right?
They got good haircuts and their jokes are sharp, but there's nothing there. There's nothing under the hood.
There.
Yeah. So anyway, I'll let you go, but I want to talk for a moment about your new podcast. It's called Apocalypse Soon.
Yes.
And I fucking love the graphic. It's you coming out of the.
That's that was done by Alan Mosquito, who's an animator, and he did the animation in the documentary about me too.
The Bitter Buddha.
And it's Kurt's. Was that Martin Sheen character coming out of the water because he's hunting Kurtz?
Yeah.
Or it looked like Kurtz. I look like Kurtz, but it's about my podcast is addressing just all of the shit. I'm trying to do it in an absurd way.
Yeah.
About the fact that our fucking culture is so polarized and it's so insane right now. And I'm trying to make sense of the insanity by being insane.
Yeah.
Like I'm not trying to tell people what to think or do. I'm just trying to show how fucking crazy it is.
All right.
You know, and
are you bringing on guests from the other side?
No, I'm not. I'm not doing an interview type thing. I'm having some comedians come on and do like character shit. Like last week I did 2 and it was like I say I'm randomly going around the country and Zooming people to see how the average American is doing. And then I had a couple of comics on who just told me how they're doing.
Yeah.
But they're doing characters, and then I'm riffing on that.
Right.
So that's what I think I'm going to do. I don't think... And then I have my shrink, real-life shrink, come on and talk.
No.
That's my one serious segment.
Wow.
In this podcast is I talk to my shrink for I want to do it maybe a 5-10 minute segment where we talk about what is going on underneath all this?
That you can do that in 5 or 10 minutes?
It's hard.
Yeah.
But if I focus in on a theme and ask her to explore a theme together, we're going to do that.
And does she get paid for this, or is this
No, not
promotion
yet.
for her?
Yes, promotion for her.
So she says her name so that people can go see her.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
I like that a lot.
She's amazing. Rachel Fell. She's amazing.
How long you been with her for?
Well, we dated. No.
She used to get me the vape pens, and
I think I've been working with Rachel almost. It was the pandemic where I was like, I need help.
Yeah.
2 years.
I got somebody 2 years ago.
Is that
too.
right?
Yeah.
And I've been in and out of therapy.
Have you seen her in person, or has it all been on Zoom?
No.
Yeah, I've never seen mine in person either.
Me neither. And she lives in Wisconsin.
Oh, I didn't think you were allowed to do that. I thought it had to be in the same state. In California.
What, really?
Yep.
Oh, because in case you have a breakdown or something?
I have no idea.
You have to show up at their home?
Yeah. You have to. They want the ability to stalk your shrink. No, no. You have to be in the same state in California. That's weird that she's out of state.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so check that out. Apocalypse Soon. Also, For the Masses is your most recent stand-up special, which is fucking hilarious. It's great. And then what's this web series, Puddin'? Is that still going on?
No, that
It's from your website.
Have you never seen Pudding?
No, I've never seen Puddin'. I'm one of those guys.
Me and this was years ago.
Oh.
And not that long ago, but like 7 years ago,
Okay.
I'm thinking. Me and Matt Oswald, Patton's brother.
Oh, yeah, he's brilliant. Yeah.
He is brilliant.
Yeah.
And he wrote it all.
No shit.
Dude, you would just check it out.
Putting it on my list.
YouTube.
Really?
Yeah.
How long are the episodes?
They're like, you'll see.
All right. That's on my to-do list.
Robin Williams. We had fucking Tom Hanks' son, Colin Hanks. We had Weird Al. We had fucking all these people
Wow.
do this shit.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Tour dates coming up April 14th at Rohnert Park, California.
I don't want to brag.
April 15th in Chico. Now that's bragging. The 16th in Santa Cruz. 4/17 in Sacramento. And then in May, you got Trinidad, Colorado, and Austin, Texas coming up. All tickets at eddiepepitone.com.
I'm also doing South by.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
South
it's
by
like
COVID?
a Mardi Gras. I don't know. I one thing I don't like about that is you wake up and you want to get a coffee.
Yeah.
And there are lines around the
Oh,
block.
that's no good.
And I need my coffee.
Yeah. No,
Are you a coffee guy?
I
don't function.
My sister is like one of the closest people in the world to me my entire life, and she's sweet and she's nice. And we were down in Richmond, Virginia this past summer, and I needed a coffee, and she took a wrong turn, and I yelled at her. And I was so embarrassed. I've never yelled at my sister in my entire life, but I needed my third cup. My third cup is crucial. 3:00. Got to get the third cup in.
Oh, it wasn't even your first.
No, 8:30 is the first one, noon is the second one, 3:00 is the third one. Like fucking clockwork.
You ever have to drink a cup before a set?
Once in a blue moon. Once in a blue moon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Just to I don't have it tonight.
Then I know, I know I won't sleep that night because of it, but I still pull the trigger on it if I have to because I got to have the good set.
Of course.
Yeah. Eddie Pepitone, what a pleasure.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you so much for coming on. Congratulations on the new podcast. People are going to love it, and we'll see you. We'll see you at the store.
Yeah.
All right.